Hey everyone, good evening. Welcome back to the channel. This is Thomas, aka Dead Texan. Before I talk about today's topic, I want to take a moment to recognize that September is the awareness month for so many different causes and health conditions. Here's a list of what I was able to find. Now, on a personal note, this video is going up on my birthday, September 1st. I'm turning 38, which is ancient in YouTube years, but we've got to start somewhere. I want to use this moment to spread some awareness about something that is special to me and hopefully share some knowledge with you all.
But let me hit you with some knowledge.
Now let's get into it. Today I'm going to talk about a condition on that list called Chiari Malformation. Don't worry if you've never heard of it before, as it is considered rare, but by the end of this video, hopefully you'll know what it is, the different types, the symptoms, causes, and the treatment options available today. Chiari Malformation happens when part of the brain extends down into the spinal canal. Basically, the skull is either too small or shaped in a way that presses the brain, forcing part of it downward. This isn't something you see every day, as I said, it is rare, but since more people are getting MRIs and other scans, doctors are spotting it more often than before. There are actually three main types of Chiari. The type depends on how much brain tissue is pushed into the spinal canal and whether there are other brain or spine development issues. Type 1 develops as the brain and skull grow, and symptoms usually show up later in childhood or adulthood. Types 2 and 3 are pediatric forms, and they are present at birth, which means they're congenital. Now let's talk about symptoms, because this is where things can look very different from person to person. Some people with Chiari have no symptoms at all. They only find out they have it because they got a scan for something else. But for others, the symptoms can be very disruptive. Here's a breakdown by type. Type 1 symptoms usually don't appear until late childhood or adulthood. The most common symptom is headache, often triggered by coughing, sneezing, or straining. Other symptoms can include neck pain, balance problems or an unsteady walk, poor hand coordination, numbness or tingling in the hands or feet, dizziness, trouble swallowing, sometimes leading to gagging, choking, or vomiting, and changes in speak-like hoarseness. Less common symptoms, including ringing in the ears, weakness, a slow heart rhythm, scoliosis, that's curvature of the spine, and even trouble breathing like sleep apnea. Type 2 symptoms are usually more serious. This type almost always occurs with a birth defect where the backbone and spinal canal don't close properly before birth. Symptoms of type 2 can include changes in breathing pattern, swallowing problems, quick downward eye movements, and weakness in the arms. Type 3 symptoms are the most severe. In this type, parts of the brain, like the cerebellum and brainstem, actually extend through an opening in the skull. It's usually diagnosed at birth or even during pregnancy with ultrasound. Unfortunately, this type comes with major brain and nervous system issues and has a much higher risk of death. So why does this happen? For type 1, it's usually because the skull is too small or shaped differently. The area that holds the cerebellum, the part of the brain that helps with balance and coordination, is cramped. So the lower part of it, called the tonsils, get pushed down into the spinal canal. With type 2, it's strongly linked to that birth defect that I mentioned earlier. When brain tissue pushes into the spinal canal, it can interfere with the normal flow of cerebral spinal fluid, the fluid that cushions and protects the brain and spinal cord. This disruption can cause pressure, block nerve signals, or lead to fluid buildup in the brain or spine. There's some evidence that Chiari malformation may run in families, suggesting a genetic link. But research on this is still pretty early, so doctors can't say for sure whether it's hereditary. Like I mentioned earlier, some people never have issues with Chiari, but for others it can lead to serious complications. Here are a few. First, can't pronounce it, but here it is on screen. When too much fluid builds up in the brain, which can affect thinking and may require surgery to insert a shunt that drains the fluid. Second, especially with type 2 since it's almost always linked, which can leave part of the spinal cord exposed and sometimes lead to paralysis. Third is this one, when a fluid-filled cyst called syrinx forms inside the spinal canal. As it grows, it puts pressure on the nerves and can cause pain, weakness, and stiffness. And fourth is tethered cord syndrome, when the spinal cord sticks to the spine, causing stretching that can damage nerves and muscles in the lower body. When should someone seek medical help? If you or your child have any of these symptoms I've talked about, especially headaches after coughing or sneezing, swallowing problems, or unexplained weakness, it's worth seeing a doctor. Keep in mind these symptoms can also be caused by other conditions, which is why a full medical evaluation is very important. And finally, let's talk about treatment. Not everyone with Chiari malformation needs it. If there are no symptoms, doctors may just monitor with regular checkups. If symptoms do show up, treatment options can include medications to control things like pain or surgery to relieve pressure and restore normal fluid flow. The exact approach depends on the type and how severe the symptoms are. So that's a general overview of Chiari malformation, what it is, the different types, the symptoms, and how it's treated. But beyond all the medical terms and definitions, there's also the human side of it. I want to take a moment and share my own experience with Chiari malformation, what it's been like for me and my family, and how it's affected us and what we've learned along the way. Okay, so that was the easy part of the video, and I'm filming this on a different day. It looks like I'm not going to be making the upload on my birthday. Hopefully I'm able to get it uploaded tomorrow on the 2nd. I tried to do this portion of the video already, and it just came out into a long and incoherent mess, so I'm going to try it again. So our personal experience with Chiari is a pretty impactful one for us anyways. It involves my niece Destiny. She was born June 10th in 2003, and she passed away April 30th, 2016. And it was due to the complications of what's called the decompression surgery of the Chiari malformation. Like I said, she was born in 2003. She is actually a twin. Not identical twin. Her and her sister are fraternal twins. They were born prematurely. I can't remember how much they weighed, but they were very small. And like I said, one of them, picture was taken of one of them and used in one of the local hospitals commercials. So that's kind of cool. Growing up, my sister did all the normal stuff you do with twins, dressing them up with the same outfits and stuff like that. And of course, they're very close. And as they grew up, they started having very different personalities. Destiny was becoming a real big tomboy. She was even talking about eventually becoming her school's first female football player and stuff like that. And her sister Aaliyah is just a big girly girl. So even with the different personalities, they're, like I said, they're very close, as most twins are. So you definitely get that. I remember whenever they were growing up, Destiny had a Justin Bieber cake for her birthday. So, and this was early Bieber. I think it was whenever that song "Baby" was real popular. So I remember them singing it and stuff like that. So, but so it was in 2015 when when she started having symptoms. It was mostly the vomiting and gagging symptom. She did have headaches. She started losing a lot of weight. She just couldn't eat properly. The doctors we took her to thought it was a digestive thing, so they treated it as a stomach thing, and they looked at it that way. They did a colonoscopy, endoscopy, just trying to find out what it was, and no one could ever figure it out. Finally, it got so bad that they took her to the, and it was finally then that they were able to do a scan and diagnosed it as Chiari malformation. And so I believe it was in February of 2016 when we finally got the diagnosis. So after that, towards the beginning of March is whenever she started the 2015 school year, but not long after that, my sister took her out because it was just too much. She kept getting sent home, and she just couldn't eat, and with her headache, she couldn't really do anything. So they ended up taking her out of school, and she stayed at home for a while. But at the same time, my sister was working a lot, and my mom was living with me, and she was watching the kids while they were at work a lot. And then at the beginning of March, they made the decision just to have Destiny go ahead and start staying with us. They recommended that she not sleep on the back of her head, recommended that she sleep upright. So I got her a recliner, and that's pretty much how she slept. She slept in a recliner to try to ease up the pressure and reduce the headaches. During that time was her and my mom got really close. I mean, I worked, so I'm gone most of the day, but they just spent all day every day together. And one of the things that they really got into was actually The Walking Dead. My sister and my niece were real big into it. My mom, not so much. She's not really. She wasn't really into it, for obvious reasons, with it being all zombies and gory and stuff like that. But then my niece was watching it with her, and it ended up the human drama of it got her into it, and they ended up spending like a whole weekend just binge watching the whole thing. And they just every time once they got caught up, they would spend every day, every week that a new episode would come out, they would watch it together. So it's actually still my mom's favorite show. She keeps up with all the new. I think they did, now that they've ended the original show, they've come out with those spinoffs, and she still watches the spinoffs. She loves Daryl, and then I got the entire series for her. So whenever she gets bored or just doesn't have anything new to watch, she'll just start watching it from the beginning and watch the entire series. So that was a big thing that they were into, and really loved watching together. Now we're getting into April, and the doctors are just saying they keep recommending to my sister that she has surgery and have what's called the decompression surgery. I think you saw that a graph of it where they remove a portion of the skull to relieve the pressure, and they really sold it. They really said that it's a really routine surgery, and the doctor that did it was very experienced. He'd done it plenty of times, and this and that. And at the time, we really just kind of trusted what the doctor said. We don't, and I still believe that. I'm not big on, say, arguing or not taking the doctor for their word. I'm sure they do their best in learning, and I do know the medical field is an ever evolving and quickly changing dynamics. So in hindsight, I think it would have been good for us to have looked more into it ourselves, and not necessarily confront the doctor, but at least have that discussion with him about it and get more into details about it. So that's kind of one thing we do now. But looking back, like I said, we just kind of trusted him and went from there. And you can say it's stupid and stuff like that all you want, but I mean, it's a different time and stuff like that. And before anybody says anything about comments about suing the doctor or the hospital or anything like that, it wasn't an issue like that. My sister did get the medical records and actually did present them to a lawyer, and they reviewed it, and they said, yeah, there was no malpractice, no negligence, just bad luck. So it was Thursday, I believe April 28th, that she had the surgery. She had it early in the morning. I didn't get a chance to. I didn't get a chance to see her before she had the surgery. Like I said at the time, we're convinced that it wasn't a big deal or a serious surgery. I know there's always risk with surgeries, but it was kind of downplayed so much that I wasn't even going to take the day off. It was my manager that actually convinced me to take the day off so that I could at least go to the hospital for once it was done. And I show up a little bit later in the morning, and she was still in surgery. So we just sat around and waited. Finally, the doctor came out and said that they were done. They did say that something unexpected happened. And from what I remember, they said something about a blood vessel kind of coming loose or kind of popping out whenever they're trying to close her up. And it was unexpected, but they said they handled it and finished up, and she was in ICU recovery, and we went over there to wait for her to wake up from the anesthesia. So we're waiting, and she wasn't waking up, and so they keep looking at her, and after a while, they decide to go ahead and take her in for a scan to see what's going on. And it turns out that she had a bleed, and it was causing pressure and keeping her from waking up. So she ended up having four surgeries that night. Just kept, and probably one of the longest nights of our lives, just waiting for it. Um, they got done with her early Friday morning, brought her back to recovery. Obviously, myself, my family, some extended family came down. Being Mexican, I got a pretty big family, so once word spread that things were happening, once word spread that things were happening, we uh, got a lot of support, and it's good that they were to come and be with us for to support. At the time, I was just concerned about making sure my sister was okay. She was going through a lot. I even had to have a word with some of my family because they were starting some drama, and I just had to remind them of why they were there and why we were all there. We were all there for Destiny, and we're all there to support my sister. So uh, they got done Friday morning. They brought her back into the same room for the ICU, and we waited for a little bit, and still nothing. But they ended up doing. They took her off the breathing machine to see if she would pick it up on her own, and she didn't. So they put her back on, and they said basically they'll try another time. And after a certain amount of time, they did. Took her off the breathing machine, but she was not picking it up on her own. And basically, because they did it a second time, and I guess through other means, they determined that she was brain dead. So I said April 30th. But it was really, I mean, you could really say April 28th was when it really happened. We just we didn't find out. Well, we didn't. They didn't confirm brain death until the 29th, and one of the reasons why it's marked as the 30th is because in a decision that my sister made, and we knew that it would have been something that Destiny would have wanted. She signed the papers to have her become an organ donor. So the reason why it's marked as April 30th is because they kept her on machines until all that paperwork and recipients like that could be found. That's why it's April 30th. She was always a giving person. Growing up, she was very mature for her age. She very much cared about her brothers and sisters. She helped take care of them. She was a very honest person. She whenever we tell a story. One time, my mom made, or not my mom, my sister made them dinner, and she tasted it, and she goes, "Oh, this tastes nasty," and took the plates away. So, um, she had a big heart. Anytime she uh got money, she would use it to buy her brothers and sisters snacks or candy, or uh, like very caring. So we knew it was something that she would have wanted and would have been okay with. And her final act of generosity saved three lives. I can't completely remember who all it was, but I believe it was two adults that got one got a kidney and the other got the other kidney and something else. I'm not. I don't entirely remember what happened to them. I, from what I've been told and what I remember, another little girl uh, got her heart. My sister did write a letter to them. I don't think we ever heard a response from the people that got the heart, but going off of what we were told where it went and local news regarding that, we do believe we were able to see who it was that got the heart. We never contacted them or anything like that, so but we did kind of at least find some solace that uh, another little girl was given a chance at life. Unfortunately, I think we kept up from a distance to see how that girl did, and I think we found out not too long ago that girl did end up passing away as well, but she was at least. Quick correction here. After talking to my mom, I did find out that it was actually the little girl that got her heart and a kidney. One other adult got a kidney, and another, I believe, got the liver. Another thing is, while we didn't know at first who received the heart, it turns out my mom actually did come in communication with the mother of the little girl. They were in communication for a little while, and it was through that means that she actually found out that the little girl had passed away. But thank you. Machines and able to live a decent life for at least a little bit longer. So there's good in that. Um, like I said, we didn't really blame the surgeon, but there were some things that, in hindsight, we wish we had known and wish we had looked more into. Namely, there is a disorder called EDS, and I'll put it on screen too, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it is a weakening of connective tissue that is often linked with Chiari. It's not something I said during the Chiari video, but um, this is definitely something that can contribute to thinning of blood vessels. So we believe that might have been the cause. Like I said, during the surgery, they said a blood vessel popped out, and it might have been the weakening of the connective tissue that caused that. And we don't know for sure that because of that caused the bleeding or anything like that, but um, it could have contributed. Another thing that I kind of wish we had looked more into and the doctors had looked more into was the fact that she was a twin. Even though she's a fraternal twin, not identical, being a twin can still affect the anatomy and the nervous system. So that I think if they had done more scanning or more testing to find out exactly what was different or abnormal with that, they may have been able to either gone about the surgery differently or who knows, really. Like I said, it's all hindsight. You know, we we're not ones to really try to hang on to that kind of stuff. It'll just eat you alive. After she passed and everything, obviously we held the funeral, and um, for me, part of it was that I was just focused on getting things done for my sister. She obviously was not in a position to organize uh, organize the funeral. Uh, I mean, obviously can't blame her, or it's definitely understandable. So, and part of the way I process it was working on it helped distract me from it, I guess you could say. So, uh, I helped her in get everything organized, and it was a very beautiful funeral. She loved Dallas Cowboys and Texas Tech, so and we knew, like I said, she was a big tomboy, so she was not one to conform to formality. So we knew that she wouldn't want people getting all dressed up and fancy. So we made a decision for the funeral to anybody who wanted to come, just come in Cowboys gear or tech gear. So we even, for the family pallbearers and stuff like that, I was one of the pallbearers, and we all had gotten Jason Witten jerseys. That was one of her favorite players, and we found someone locally who was able to do a heat press decal on it and put Destiny on the jersey, which I still have in my closet. If I get it, I'll put it on the screen. But we all wore that, and her gravestone even has Cowboys and Tech logos on them. So, and picked a very nice verse to put on there. Which, again, if I find it, I'll throw it on the screen. Like I said, she was very caring and a thoughtful person. She was just excuse me. She was the type of person that no matter who she met, they loved her. She was the kind of person that would make a connection with you, and your life was brighter having just known her. And you could see that with the community that we're in. At the time, we lived in a small town, and one of those ones where pretty much everyone knows each other. The school was very supportive. A lot of her classmates came out, and throughout the school, they planted a tree and a little placard for her, and they just never forgot about her. She was talked about. Like I said, she was 12 at the time. She was talked about all the way up to graduation, and even during graduation, they honored her with a empty chair and said her name. And my niece, obviously, they both had the same last name, so their names were read right with each other. So yeah, that's it's affected us all. If you saw the banner for the Chiari Awareness Month, their color is purple. It's affected us all. It's become my mom's. I'm not sure if it was her favorite color before, but it is now. There is a Chiari Malformation awareness group. It's called Conquer Chiari. Walk Across America. It's an organization. We really haven't gotten, well, I guess we haven't really been too involved lately, but after Destiny passed, we were greeted by them. We heard about them, and they do an annual walk to help raise awareness and stuff like that. So they usually do it around the third, like the third or fourth Saturday of the month. The first year after it happened, we went out there, big old group of us, my family, a lot of the people that were my sister's friends, Destiny's friends. They all came out, and we because of she was one of the most recent ones to be affected by it. They had our group lead the walk and do that, and we've been to several walks since. They're a very good group. I'm gonna leave a link to them in the description, so if you'd like to look more into it or contribute to them, if some reason you found this video and either have been affected by it or think you might be affected by it and you end up finding out, just let me know. This coming up April will be 10 years. It's kind of weird. I'm probably having the least reaction to it talking about it than I think if I were to try to get my mom or my sister talking about it. So that's our story. I hope, kind of weird to say I hope you enjoyed it, but I hope you got something out of it, whether it was learning something about this condition or learning something about me. And I noticed that you see the bag of, this is actually a bag of pork rinds behind me. I'm filming this on my birthday. The intention was to release this video on on my birthday, but didn't work out. And I didn't mention that I recently became unemployed. So really, I was just expecting to say I got unemployed. What I got for my birthday, I got unemployed. But my nieces and nephews surprised me with this, just a little basket, and there was a pint of Rocky Road right there, but it's in the freezer, and there was a Snickers one in there too, but I kind of already ate that one. But just a little basket of my favorite sweets and snacks, and I thought that was very nice of them. So, see that in the background. But I said, leave a comment or on if you've learned anything, if you have any questions, or just to share your own story about if this has affected you, or really anything. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully, I know my last video was talking about the Minneapolis shooting, and so hopefully I'll be able to start making videos with more fun topics. But I felt like, especially with this being the start of the September, the awareness month, and what I'm trying to do with this channel, I felt it was important to talk about it and hopefully raise some awareness, and we'll go from there. But again, thank you very much. All the new YouTuber stuff, like and subscribe, and hope you have a good rest of your night. Thank you.